Hey guys, it's Mark here with another quick tutorial. So in this one, I'm going to show you how I create a sort of like a 3D long shadow appearance on my text in Adobe Illustrator. It's actually pretty easy. So for this, you're just going to need some text that you're going to use. You can use a font if you like, that's totally fine. This is some text that I actually drew myself and then scanned and then I vectored it in Illustrator. And if you want to know how to do that, I actually have a tutorial already on my channel about converting a Sharpie sketch like this. It's been scanned and then converting it into a vector in Illustrator. So for this tutorial, you're going to need to use the Pathfinder tool, which is over here. If you don't have this open, you just click on Window and then click on Pathfinder and that should open. So I've got my text here, and what I want to do is I'm going to make the text, eventually it's going to be white and then the 3D shadow is going to be black. So I'm going to need to make another layer, and I'm also going to need to make another copy of the type. So to do that, I'm just going to click and drag the layer down here and it will just duplicate it for me. So then what I'm going to do is I don't want to actually affect the original text at all. I want it to stay exactly how it is. So I'm going to lock the layer that's on the top. But then if I click and drag, you can see that I'm selecting the one that's behind. So what I'll do now is I'll actually add a black stroke to the outside of this type. I think that should do. Looks pretty good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, I'll unlock this other layer real quick just so I can show you what we're doing. So if I unlock that top layer and select the text again, I'm going to make that white now. So you can see that the other layer, the black one, is behind it. So we're getting that stroke around the outside first. So I'm going to relock it again now, and I'll select the back text. I'm going to bump up that stroke a bit more. I'm pretty happy with that. So then what I'll do is I will select it and then go to Object, Expand. I'll leave Fill and Stroke ticked and click OK. And then on my Pathfinder tool, I'm just going to click Unite. And that's going to turn that background layer into one solid object like that. So I'll just undo that. Okay, so with the top layer still locked, I'm going to select that text again, and I'm going to make another copy of it by clicking and dragging the layer again. And I want this to be kind of at like a bit of a 45-degree angle, I think. So the one that's underneath, I'm going to click and just, actually, sorry, I'll lock that real quick. I'll click and drag this to a 45-degree angle out to there, I think. I'm going to unlock that again. So I want to select the two black layers. And then what I'm going to do is go to Object, down to Blend, and then Blend Options. So we need to make sure this is set to specified steps. And I guess if you kind of imagine what Illustrator is basically going to try and do is make a whole bunch of copies of this black text between the two to make it a really smooth looking transition. So this number kind of refers to how accurate and how many steps there's going to be. So if I were to just do a quick example with, I'll just say the number 4, which will be nowhere near enough. I need to click OK, but then before it takes effect, I actually have to click Object and then go back to Blend and click Make. So you can see it's added a few copies in between there, and you can see that there's a bit of an edge, but we want that edge to be really nice and smooth instead, like a straight line. So I'm going to undo that real quick. I'm going to highlight those again and just go back to Object, Blend, and Blend Options. And with still unspecified steps, I'm going to bump that up to, say, let's try 100 for this one. And then Object, Blend, and click on Make again. And there you go. So now it looks like a much smoother edge, which I'm pretty happy with. And yeah, so there you have it. There's my 3D shadow. Now you'll notice that when I highlight over this, you can see it's trying to still select those two objects, and I just want that to be one solid object now. So I'm just going to highlight those, go to Object, Expand, click OK. And you can see what I mean about all those different copies that it's sort of tried to add there. So to get rid of all those unnecessary paths, I'm just going to click on Unite again. And it will just take a little while because there's so many copies. There you go. And now we've got one solid object. that we can move around. So that way, if I wanted to, I could come in and make changes. So yeah, there you have it. Hopefully that made sense. If you have any questions about the process, by all means, chuck them in the comments. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Thanks very much, guys.